Numbers in a grid don't jump out at you. Conditional formatting fixes that by changing a cell's color automatically based on its value, so patterns and problems become visible at a glance instead of requiring you to read every row. Let's build a small product performance table, a name, a revenue figure, and a status, to work with, enough variety to make a color rule, a gradient, and a full row highlight all genuinely useful. Select B2 through B7, the revenue column. Open Format, then Conditional Formatting. A panel opens on the right, on the Single Color tab. Under Format Cells if, choose greater than, type 30,000, and keep the default green formatting style. Click Done. Bravo and Delta, the only two revenue figures over 30,000, turn green immediately, and they'll keep updating automatically if any number in that column ever changes. No rechecking the rule by hand every time the data does. A single threshold only tells you above or below one line. For a clean comparison, copy the revenue values to column D using paste values only, label the new column revenue scale, and select D2 through D7. The conditional formatting panel is already open, so click Add another rule and switch to the Color Scale tab. Leave the default red to green gradient, based on minimum and maximum values in the range, and click Done. Now every value in revenue scale gets its own shade. 5,000, the lowest value, is the deepest red, 45,000, the highest, is the deepest green, and everything else falls somewhere between. A color scale is often the better choice whenever you care about relative ranking across a whole column, not just a pass or fail cutoff. Now let's highlight entire rows where status is at risk, not just the status cell itself. Copy the original table's values to columns F through H so this example stays separate from both earlier rules. Select F2 through H7, click Add another rule, choose Custom Formula is, and type equals H2 equals at risk, in quotes. Keep the default green formatting style and click Done. Look closely, only column F highlights on the at-risk rows, Charlie and Echo. Columns G and H stay untouched. This custom formula behaves exactly like a normal formula copied across the range. It was written relative to F2, so as it shifts across to columns G and H, it starts checking columns I and J instead of H. Those cells are empty, so they never match. Column F only looks correct because its relative reference lands on the intended status column. This is exactly the relative versus absolute reference problem from Lesson 1.4, just showing up inside conditional formatting instead of a regular formula. The fix is the same, lock the column, but let the row stay relative. Open the F2 through H7 rule and change the formula to equals $H2 equals at risk, in quotes. Click Done. Now Charlie's entire copied row and Echo's entire copied row turn fully green, because $H stays anchored to the status column no matter which column in the range is being tested, while the row number 2 still shifts normally down to row 3, 4, 5, and so on. Let's recap. Format, then Conditional Formatting, on the Single Color tab, highlights cells that pass one simple condition, like greater than 30,000. The Color Scale tab spreads a gradient across a whole range based on minimum and maximum values, no fixed threshold needed. And Custom Formula is unlocks highlighting based on genuinely any logic you can write, but the formula shifts relatively across your selected range exactly like a normal formula, so highlighting a full row based on one column's value needs that column locked with a $sign, or only the first column will ever light up correctly. That column locking rule is worth remembering any time a conditional format only seems to be working on part of a range instead of all of it. In the next lesson, we'll build charts and graphs straight from data like this, without any extra tools.